loyal sons. We'll get 'em on the run, boys. We got 'em on the run. Yes, we are loyal sons. We'll get 'em on the run, boys. We got 'em on the run.
Well, hello and welcome to another edition of the Picks Podcast over here at HLS. I'm your host, Ryan Ritter. You could call me ND Tex, and as always, you can catch us live over here on twitch.tv/HerLittleSons, and you can subscribe to the podcast over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you happen to get your podcast feeds at. You can come join us in Discord. That is our live chat channel, herlittlesons.com/Discord. And as always, you can catch us at our home at herlittlesons.com. With that said, it is time to bring in Eddie. Eddie, how are you doing, my friend?
We're still doing this bullshit, huh?
Well, we are, yes. The season, believe it or not, did not end this past weekend. Our hopes and dreams may have died and ended this past weekend, but there's still football to be had, not only for our own Irish, but across the nation as well.
Well, I will try out my Halloween costume as somebody that cares about college football a day early, but gotta say, I was a lot happier the last time I talked to you. I'm not really feeling it tonight. What can I say?
No,
something must have happened. I don't know.
Yeah, something bad must happen, and I'm feeling it on every end. As we were talking pre-show, obviously we were both very confident in a slightly different outcome this past weekend. Not only that, though, because I hammered the line back when Notre Dame was not favored. Like, oh, this is a value money line at this point, which it was. It was at that point. But being somebody that always looks at different, equations and stuff, I'm like, I usually don't put that much out there. Let me hedge this with the under because it's raining. It's garbage out there. And then both of them went to hell. So it was a bloodbath for me this past week on all fronts.
Yeah, I was actually having a phenomenal week until I max bet both economically and emotionally on our game. And then at halftime, it was a pick-em line, and I was like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and double down. Surely we're going to come back. And all the work I'd done the rest of the day was quickly erased, and all of the sadness was, quintupled. But that's just one game. It's just 1 week. I guess we should move on.
Well, is that the lead into this? That's the saddest lead in we've had, Eddie. Oh, wait, I got to talk about the pick'em first. Wait, we can see if you can muster up a little bit more energy. Still just absolutely killing it right now is Maome Muchachos. He's got a 5-game lead over Fitter, 122-74 is his record. And as far as us, Eddie, and our little extra life side bet, last week was rough for you, at least in our pick'em. So I went 8-6, so I should have just actually bet everything here single units, and I would have had a much better time. You went 6-8, so that actually increases my lead to you on 3 games. Me 56-64, 53-67 is where you stand. But we are about to hit another month. Not the best way to end October, but November is a new month. And I will say, speaking of Extra Life, I actually did a little bit of a stream. If you hit extralife.ndtex.com, any donations made up until Sunday at 9 p.m., so around the time we do the the recap show, Shane and I, any donations that are there, I will match 8%. And if we get about 400 some odd more dollars, I'll actually be able to engage my company match because it'll put me over $50. So an effective 16% match. So take your sadness. Let's help try to kick some cancer's ass. Pediatric cancer is what we're doing there. Fighting that in honor of a young man named David. And I tell you what, it was good to do that last night because I needed a palate cleanser after this past week. But with all that said, Eddie, we see Benny in the chat. He's ready to go. Are you ready to go, sir?
Let's go, baby.
Oh, well, the beautiful board is back up. Oof, geez, Eddie, this is the roughest I've heard you in a while.
It was a bad week, man.
All right, well, let's see if we can't turn it around, because Halloween night, we have West Virginia going on the road to undefeated Baylor. Baylor, an 18-point favorite at home. Total in this one is 56. Eddie, go ahead and lead us off. Let's move on and let's start the healing process.
Yeah, I know it's a Thursday night game, and we like to get weird on weeknights. And yeah, 18's a big spread, and it's moving. It's moved a point so far. Majority of tickets and money are on Baylor right now. But man, West Virginia's, they're 2-4 against the spread this year. They've been getting their ass kicked lately. They are coming off a bye, but I don't really think it helps that much. Especially when you look at the flip side, Baylor has everything to play for right now. Baylor right now controls their destiny to the Big 12 title.
Leader in the clubhouse.
That? I mean, that's crazy. So, yeah, you could be worried about a look ahead, but next week isn't OU. Next week isn't Texas. It's TCU, which a solid team, but not somebody you're going to be looking past a current opponent for. And I think the fact that they know that they're in the number one spot right now, they know they got to take care of business. So I'm going to take Baylor to cover here, even though that line's a little larger than I'd like.
Yeah, the line is a little big here. I've gone back and forth on this one. And right now, at least, and it's super early, and the public's not really hitting this game too hard yet. Even though the game is tomorrow, we have less than 2,000 tickets, 68% of the bets, 70% of the money laying on Baylor. However, I'm inclined to believe them. I'm inclined to play with the public here for the same reasons that you say, Eddie, because they do have more to play for. Not only that, West Virginia they haven't been good. The best game that they did have was against Texas at home. They're not at home here. And even when they were at home, they shot themselves in the foot with a bunch of turnovers. This isn't the West Virginia that Holgo used to have. They're rebuilding. It's a whole different ball game. And Baylor has got absolutely everything to lose in this one. So, yeah, I like Baylor here big. All right, Friday night, I decided to give us some action. I don't know why, but I did anyway. So if you're interested, future Notre Dame opponent Navy is a 27.5-point favorite over UConn. And this line has actually moved in Navy's favor by 2 whole points. Now, UConn is real bad. Let's not get that wrong. Even though their head coach right now is blaming, I think it's like Fortnite or something, some or other, because of the phones. Is that why they lose a bunch of games? I don't know. I can't keep up with that much bullshit at once. However, Navy is a good team, but that is a lot of points for a triple option team, and it's basically right on trying to have them win by 4 touchdowns. Even as bad as UConn is, I don't think it gets that bad. So, man, I hate, and UConn's at home too, and I don't like picking gigantic road favorites to that level. So I'm gonna side with the Huskies here. They're gonna get beat. It ain't gonna be pretty, but I think they'll cover. Who do you got, Eddie?
I mean, UConn's bad. We've made plenty of UConn jokes throughout the season, throughout the last couple of years. Something that surprised me when I looked today, they're actually 4-3 against the spread this year.
Oh, wow. That I did not know.
Yeah, covered their last 2 games, coming off a win last week. All that being said, Navy's offense has been real nasty lately. I mean, they've been kind of putting the hurt on people offensively. I don't like having that big of a spread with an option team because at some point you just wonder if you're going to have enough clock. But since it's still under 28, I'm going to take Navy. If it keeps, the spread has been moving. It's moved 2 points, opened at 25.5. If it keeps getting up and it gets past that key number 28, real life I might be tempted to flip. But since it's still under 4 touchdowns, I'm going to go ahead and take Navy to keep doing what they've been doing offensively.
All right, well, let's move to Saturday proper now. We're going to go ahead. We're going to rip the Band-Aid off because Michigan is involved in the game. We will pick it. Coming off their big win against us in a game I'd soon rather forget. in a game where I had to explain to Michigan Men at Work why Notre Dame didn't show up. They will now have to go onto the road. That's a 21-point favorite against Maryland. And total in this one is 56. Who do you got, Eddie?
It's too many points. I'm going to take Maryland. Part of that's spite. Let's be serious. But this line has been moving a ton too. Opened at 16.5. Obviously, people jumped on it quick. Unlike the last game, here you did get to the key number of 21. Look, Michigan beat the hell out of us. Their offense did something for the very first time. I don't know what they found in their rushing game that had been mediocre at best all year until last week. I don't know if it was just Notre Dame's defense got, and that's what it was. I don't know. I'm still not convinced that Michigan's offense is that good. We know that Maryland can score. Yeah, they're going to give up a lot of points too. But you got a 21-point spread. Again, we're still talking Big Ten football here. That feels like too many points. I think 21 should be an easy cover.
This almost, at least when I look at it, it feels like a Sophie's choice to me, because on the one hand, I don't want to take Michigan as that heavy of a favorite on the road. They play a lot different on the road than they do at home. They have been for the entire Harbaugh era. Quite frankly, they've been doing it since before the Harbaugh era. They've been playing really weird anytime they're on the road. Maryland, however, is really damn bad. And I remember thinking back to a certain game against Penn State where I'm like, oh, they'll definitely cover that. Yeah, they've had some hiccups, but they'll cover. It's a huge game for them. It's a huge statement. As much as I don't want to do it, and this actually, it makes me more physically ill than I currently am right now. I've had pneumonia. I've had some kind of weird strep, sinus infection, whatever going on right now. What I'm about to do makes me feel even sicker, because I really think Maryland is just that bad. And I don't think it's because Michigan is just going to tear them a new one, because they, like you said, Eddie, I still don't believe in that offense. They're going to get theirs later on. Game against Sparty, I'm sure will get weird. They still got to face the murder train that is Ohio State at the end of the year. But as far as this one goes, I'm going to take Michigan to cover. I hate myself so much.
Look what you've done, Brian Kelly. Look what you did to this poor boy.
You've done it. You've broken me, man. No! Can't go on making me pick Michigan now, asshole. Okay, well, this used to be a rivalry game of note. Well, no, I'm talking about the next game. Yes, this used to be a lot more fun in general. Miami and Florida State, a game that used to have a lot more implications to it, and now is who can actually find their footing. Maybe, sort of, kind of. Florida State is a 3-point favorite at home. Total in this one is 47 points. And God, I don't want to pick this. Why did I put this game on here? I actually make this spreadsheet. What the hell's wrong with me?
It's a bad game.
It's a really bad game. It's on here. I blame Jack. This is your fault, Jack. I feel bad for you, and it's like, well, we'll include Florida State in this one. They're playing Miami. Big game. Well, for them and them alone. There's barely any tickets on this, but right now the early, and we're talking just over 900 tickets, 76% of bets and money on Miami. And look, Florida State hasn't been playing that great, but they're at home, so whatever. I'll go ahead and fade the public. I'll take the home favorite here. I think Miami's kind of a mess right now still. They're still trying to figure things out. And I don't know what in the world Manny Diaz has done, or if like Mark Richt just left some kind of weird implosion bomb that is continuously going off throughout the season. But I think they're a bigger mess than FSU right now. So with FSU being at home and being a little less of a mess, I'll go ahead and take them. Who do you got, Eddie?
Yeah, the FSU at home is kind of what I'm focusing on too. You're right that early tickets and money are majority on Miami, but there aren't that many tickets on it, so that doesn't really give you a whole lot. Honestly, the under is the play here. A field goal might be enough for the game.
Speaking of, Miami can't kick any of those worth of shit. Exactly,
and especially the history of this game and series is well known for its Miami missed field goals.
Yeah.
So with all that,
this matchup was college kickering before college kickers was a hashtag.
Yeah, no kidding. So I'm also going to take the Noles here. We're talking about the Noles. Don't watch this game. Surely you can find something better to do with your Saturday.
Yeah, there's look. I have no idea what Ty's going to do for the window of opportunity and at the chance of stealing his bit here. Just looking at this afternoon slate, I'm like, just or the noon slate rather. I'm like, dear God, this sucks. Like skip it and get to the cocktail party. Although this next game may be interesting.
Yeah, the fact that this next game is way more interesting than Miami, Florida State.
So
Go
weird.
back 15 years and tell yourself that.
Yeah. And so again, imagine Kansas State and Kansas, a Big 12 rivalry matchup, actually being a big deal. Kansas State just coming off a huge upset of OU is a 6-point favorite on the road against Kansas, who, after they fired their offensive coordinator, actually has an offense now. But how are you feeling about this one, Eddie? I cannot believe this is on our board right now.
I can't believe that this might actually be an interesting game. That's the real crazy part. Part of me wants to take Kansas, just thinking that K-State's going to be emotional letdown after that huge win. They're going to be hungover, not thinking. Kansas has just no defense whatsoever. And K-State can actually play a little bit of defense. Now, I realize I'm saying that after they gave up 41 to Oklahoma, but everyone gives up 41 to Oklahoma, and they outscored Oklahoma. So I don't like the spread. Both teams, 4 wins against the spread this year. I don't feel great about this. It's going to be a stay away for me. But just for this pick, I think Kansas's defense is too much of a liability, so I'm going to go ahead and lay 6 with K-State, even on the road.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you, Eddie. I'm steering into chaos in this one. And really one thing I've been doing, especially this season, trying to figure out where the chaos is going to happen. And especially in college football in general, the better chance of it happening is when the favored team is on the road. I mean, we saw it happen to OU. They were the road team in that one. And they kind of sleepwalk in a noon game. I don't think there's going to be sleepwalking in either team here, but Les Miles has done something weird at Kansas to where somehow he's been in these past few games. He damn near beat Texas, and they beat BC on the road many moons ago. That feels like forever, but earlier on the season they went on the road and beat BC. So I think these guys got just enough fight in them to make it interesting. So I mean, you're basically saying Kansas State's got to win by a full touchdown. They might be able to do that. I could see that. But I'll just go ahead and lean in and say, hey, there's going to be some crazy stuff happening. We're not out of the crazy blood chaos yet because November has just now started. So let's get weird. Let's take Kansas. Let's take Les Miles. All right, well, with that said, folks, we got a few more games coming, including the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. And we will be on that right after this. If I can actually get the marker on here. There we go. All right. Well, we are going to be doing the Twitch ad right now. And remember, those of you that are subbed, you can bypass it. Actually, I think it may do a picture-in-picture now. Twitch keeps changing everything on me. But we will be right back after this.
I think you need to start singing the ads like Katie Nolan does on her podcast.
Singing the ads?
Yeah. Have you ever listened to her podcast?
I have not.
It's very good, and on one of the ad reads, she always has to sing it as a song. There's one, I'll have to find it because it's incredible. She does a Quip ad to, oh, that's gone. She does a Quip ad to Yellow Card's Ocean Avenue, and it's fucking amazing.
Nice. Well, I don't know obviously Twitch, I have no idea. And the only ad I have right now is just I don't know how Anchor will feel if I start singing their ad.
That's fair.
It'd be interesting. I wonder what would happen if I just did it.
Only one way to find out.
Although listening to Irish Illustrated, since we seem to be getting matched up with the same sponsors damn near, I think we're going to be doing a Spotify ad soon since Spotify bought Anchor. So
oh, nice.
We'll see. Oh yeah, my stream's way behind you. That is long gone. Hell yeah. Implode, Grinky. Sorry, Eddie. Sorry for your wallet.
I've got the over too, so I'm okay here.
What is the total set up for this one?
7.5.
Oh, they're gonna need to do some work.
Yeah, but we're getting into bullpens, so
Yeah, things are going to get weird, especially in 7. All right, well, the ad is done. Let's get back into this. All right, we are back, and it is time, Eddie, for the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, and it is this year a top 10 matchup. Number 8, Georgia, 6.5-point favorite against number 6, Florida. 44.5 is your gigantic total in this one. Well, let's see. No, I have the ball now. So, this one is real weird. Both these teams coming off a bye. Georgia has, let's be honest, their offense has had similar Notre Dame issues right now. They seem to like to throw the ball about 5 yards or less. They at times forget they have a decent running game, and especially considering that the running back's DeAndre Swift, it kind of seems like a crime. Florida, on the other hand, if you go all the way back to week 0, they started out, they looked like an absolute mess and had one of the weirdest football games you will ever see. And, you know, their defensive line, very, very good. And their quarterbacking, it may be decent now. I don't know. They put up a decent fight against LSU. They put up some points. But beyond that, I'm not sure. So what this game comes down to me, I think Georgia's going to win this. I think they just have way too much talent on there. But it's really weird to see a 44.5-point total and a spread of 7 damn near. That both of these things don't compute. Both of these teams have everything to play for. It's supremacy in the East, and really the excuse me, whoever loses this, you know, kiss any last playoff hopes goodbye or any chance of SEC title game. I think it's going to be kept close enough, though. Florida, I think, showed just enough fight against LSU to make, and Georgia having just enough weird issues, and Kirby Smart, I think, will do just enough weird things to keep this within that touchdown. So go ahead and give me the Gators. Who do you got, Eddie?
I'm also taking the Gators. I feel like Florida could definitely win this game outright, and you're going to give me nearly a full touchdown. Again, this line's been moving like crazy. It opened at 3.5. It got bet up enough, but you look at where things are at right now, and it's not that big of a disparity, which is somewhat interesting. But Georgia favored by 6.5 now. I mean, at this point, are we sure that Jake Fromm can actually throw the ball further than 8 yards downfield?
I've seen him he did it against us, and it was, you know, he did it enough to get the magic circus catch touchdown for the second time in a row against Notre Dame. So,
I don't think I've seen him throw one past 12 yards since that game.
Honestly, I haven't either. And I know some of that was due to the fact that there was a literal, like, fucking biblical rain against Kentucky.
Oh, wait. You mean rain can affect when you might throw passes? That's weird. Huh. I didn't know that.
Patience.
Has that ever come up before?
You can't get PK wet. It's like a fucking gremlin. Doesn't know how to call plays if you get him wet.
He's fucking Bruce Willis and Unbreakable. Anyway, we'll get to that shit show soon enough. Like I said, I think Florida can win this game. I'm more than happy to take the points here. You know I love looking at common opponents. Florida took care of South Cackalack.
That is true.
Georgia couldn't do it at home. And once again, I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. And so I'm more than happy to take points with that.
Blankenship field goal battle. He needs redemption. Let's see what he does.
Yeah, he does. That's true.
All right, let's move into the Pac-12, where Utah has moved back into the top 10. Number 9 team in the nation, 3.5-point favorite on the road against Washington. Total in this is 47 in the hook. Who you got, Eddie?
Line's been weird on this. I don't like it. There's a decent amount of bets. Mostly right now it's 59% of tickets, 64% of the money's on Washington, and yet the line moved from Utah -1.5 to Utah -3.5. Reverse line movement scares me. I'm going to take Utah, and I don't mind doing it. Their defense has been fantastic. Blanked Cal in their last game. I'm going to take the Utes.
I'm taking the Utes as well. The line movement is weird, but right now Utah, they're playing like I expected them to play. Earlier in the season, they're playing just murdery football right now. And I know this is a road game, but Washington, they've been hit or miss most of the season. They dropped, and if you remember the last big game they had, they dropped it, and it was at home against Oregon. I think Utah's got a better defense that's going to give Washington a few more fits, and that's really what I'm going to lean here. Defense travels a heck of a lot better than offense, and I really like what Utah's doing right now. And yeah, that reverse line movement is so weird. I don't Vegas see when people say Vegas knows something, they're like, oh well, Vegas knew something. You know, Notre Dame was an underdog. No, this is Vegas knowing something. This line fucking stinks. This makes no sense at all when you have this kind of movement going the opposite direction when the money is actually on the other side. All right, we move on back to the SEC. Where number 11 Auburn is taking on Ole Miss. Auburn, a 19-point favorite at home. Total in this one is 52.5. I tell you what, Auburn, if they have been doing one thing consistently this season, it's that if they get a bad team, they smoke them. They're playing a bad team. Ole Miss, not that great, and that's being kind. They're kind of a mess this season. And with Auburn being at home, I definitely think they could put 3 touchdowns on them. Put 3 touchdowns on them, maybe all they need, because the way Auburn's defense is playing right now, especially against these lesser teams, oh, it's good. It's very good. And oh, hell yes, Nats. Yeah, buddy.
My God, you're so far behind. It's
yeah,
hilarious.
buddy. Well, we'll enjoy PSV while it lasts. We'll see YouTube TV if they're a little bit better on the up and up. But anyway, yes, I will take Auburn in this one. War Eagle, y'all. There you got, Eddie.
I'm going to take Auburn as well. I'm really impressed with the way they played at LSU last week. I thought that Death Valley would get to Bo Nix. I thought that LSU's offense would outpace them. And Auburn hung right in there. It was a hell of a football game. And like you said, Ole Miss ain't that good. And they have smoked teams that aren't that good. I'm impressed. It's a larger spread than I'd prefer, but like you said, they kill bad teams, and Ole Miss, they sure ain't a good one.
I keep thinking what Auburn did to Arkansas, man. That was murdery. They had that game in the bag in the first quarter.
I wouldn't put Ole Miss down at Arkansas's level, but
they're not that far away.
They're closer to Arkansas than they are to Auburn. So
yeah, the LSU game was impressive on the road. One they probably could have had, but hey, freshman quarterback, you can only do so much there. I was very pleased with that effort.
Yeah, I'll take Auburn.
Can't say that for all my teams. Moving on. We're getting there. Number 4 Clemson is taking on Wofford. Here is
the Mighty Terriers. Arf, 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 arf.
This is your morbid curiosity, gigantic ass, huge spread pick of the week. 47.5-point favorites against the Mighty Terriers. The total is 59 in the hook. Who do you got, Eddie?
Well, Ryan, I went to the back computer, did a little bit of research, and found out that since 2006, Clemson is 5-3 against the spread when they are favored by 40 or more points.
Ooh, that is some some numbering.
They don't mind going up against a big spread. And the last time that they played the Mighty Terriers of Wofford, there was a 35-point spread. This was in 2015. Clemson won by 39, had the cover. And that game was played on like week 2. So that was still early on. You're still working guys out. You're not putting too much on the table. Whereas now, we're in November by now. Clemson, obviously, they've been clicking lately. They looked real good. They've been doing the murdery things that we thought they were going to do. And, I mean, Wofford is a decent team for what they are. They're 5-2 this year. They haven't played any 1A teams yet. But, they're not complete trash. But they're not on the level. This is a good old-fashioned squash match. I'll lay the points.
I'm laying them too. I mean, the only way that this goes sideways for Clemson is if somebody tells Dabo about the NCAA statement about name, image, and likeness and quits. Just right then and there.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he's going to follow up on that.
Yeah, it's going to be real weird how everybody's going to change their tune in a hurry. But yeah, that's really the only way this goes sideways. The total almost says it all, and I think the total's being generous for the points they're thinking Wofford can put on the board with this spread. Here's the thing. Clemson's defense still really damn good. Trevor Lawrence doesn't have to throw a single ball in this one. ATN can cover this on his own. It's going to be murdery. Yeah. Moving on. There's not much more to say about this. Like Eddie had it right. Squash match. I really good old wrestling terminology there. All right, back to the Pac-12, and then we're going to get real spicy after this one. Number 7, Oregon, 4.5-point favorite on the road against Southern Cal. Total on this one is 62. Oregon, number 7. Man, it feels like for another like lifetime ago when they faced Auburn at the beginning of the season. They're like, oh, well, maybe they don't have it. And then they, murder a couple teams, and then they kind of trip over themselves again. And now all of a sudden they're back in the top 10. And Southern Cal is, I don't even know what they're doing. Sometimes it looks like they have the offense figured out. Clay Helton finds other running backs on his roster that can apparently run all over somebody. And then other times they don't have a running game. And I'm going to be interested to see what kind of quarterbacking names you have this week, Eddie. But one constant that I'm going to be leaning on here is that SC has been playing really well at home. For whatever reason, they got some kind of great magic voodoo going on there. I anticipate that staying here. I don't know if they pull off the upset here, but I at least like him to keep it close enough within a field goal or so to cover here. Man, oh my God, picking SC and Michigan the same week. I need a damn shower. Who you got, Eddie?
This line stinks. Like a cartoon pig fluttering through the air because somebody walked by with an apple pie. I'm going to take the fucking Trojans because I don't understand how number 7 Oregon is only laying 4.5 to this SC team. I mean, yeah, it's at home, but has the Coliseum gotten over 40% full this year yet?
No, it's still Bizarro World somehow. I don't know if like United Airlines like buries some shit underground that like sucks the life force out of opponents, or maybe like, or wait, isn't that like, do these teams take United into LAX? Is that it?
I mean, just on paper, neutral field, I feel like Oregon ought to kill this team. If the line was 10.5, I'd take Oregon, no problem. This line stinks. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I'm going to take the Trojans.
Steer into the weird. Steer into the chaos, y'all. I'm telling you, when you see the weird-ass lines, they look close, and the favored team is traveling, shit's going to happen, and it's going to be really fucking weird. I don't know how I'm going to feel about this one at all, if it goes the way I think it could end up going. But I tell you what, I know how I'm going to feel about this next game, Eddie. I know damn good and well how I'm going to feel here. Game day is coming to Memphis, and the Ponies are also coming into town. Number 15, SMU. Number 24, Memphis, is favored by 5.5 points. The total in this one is a beautiful, beautiful 72. We got ourselves a good old-fashioned shootout here. Who do you got, Eddie?
SMU Ichiban. Nothing else matters besides the Ponies, which means I probably should pick against them. No, but I'm going to take SMU. Like you said, should be a shootout. A lot of money on Memphis early.
Yes, indeed.
The one factor that could be there is one of SMU's best receivers, Reggie Roberson, got hurt in the first quarter of the game last week on his foot. Still haven't gotten a definitive yes or no as to whether or not he's going to play. That being said, I think SMU has enough weapons to stay in this even without him. If he does come back, I think they've got more firepower. Memphis is scary. Not necessarily this year, just historically. Weird shit happens in Memphis. And these are two very good teams. I mean, obviously SMU undefeated. Memphis, 7-1, I think. And they're 5-2 against the spread. They've been playing good ball. SMU's got 2 extra days of rest, given the early game last week, so that's always helpful. I think SMU's got more firepower, and once again, I think SMU can win this game outright, so I have no problem taking them to cover here.
I am taking future Cotton Bowl bound Ponies in this one as well, Eddie. I'm all in on the local boys right now. If there's one thing, like, let's go ahead and look at this from a spread perspective first, because I, like you, believe they can win it as well. But every game they're in is going to be interesting. They find ways to keep it close. They find ways for it to get weird. Sonny Dykes is on some kind of weird shit down here, because I cannot believe what he's doing with this team right now. He's managed to get transfers that have just absolutely worked out perfectly. It's like the Big 12 refugee. We also got a former Notre Dame player down there as well. All kinds of craziness, and it's just working. Everything's clicking right now, and this has the feel of the bottom falling out for Memphis as well, with all the hype and game day coming into town. And I also remember Memphis just kind of getting pantsed a little bit by Temple as well. Now, a lot of that is Temple had a really good defense, but Temple also put up some points on their own outside of the turnovers that led to points and everything else. They were putting points up on Memphis. SMU's offense, a hell of a lot better. Folks, you always take the points in the shootout. That's what I'm leaning with here. But tell you what, I'm going to be taking a look at that money line. I feel like I'm going to get that kind of spicy on that one. So pony up, y'all.
Just because I saw something that scared me, and you said money line. I know that you enjoy Bill Connolly's Spaploose like I do.
Spaploose.
The projected margin on this game is Memphis by 12.5.
Oh Lord.
So just take that one into account.
It's okay. Do we have recent evidence of a team that was working really well against the SP Plus, and then we had a bunch of confidence that it wouldn't come to pass? We've run into nothing like that, right?
I mean, I could think of one.
I can't think of any. I don't know what you're talking of. And speaking of, let's go ahead and talk about Notre Dame, because that is the last game on this little 12-pack here. Number 16, Notre Dame, comes back home from the hellhole that is Ann Arbor against Virginia Tech. And folks, if you haven't been paying attention to the ACC Coastal, it's bad. It's real bad. In fact, the ACC outside of Clemson overall pretty damn bad. 58 is your total. This spread, despite the pantsing that happened up in Ann Arbor, 17.5. Oh God. Look, I'm taking the points here. I just cannot do this. And here's the thing: I'm actually staying the hell away from this game. I'm not going to actually touch this game with the wallet. I don't have a good feel about the under. I don't have a good feel about the over. I don't have a good feel about what Notre Dame team is going to show up again. I do think we're going to see a bounce back here. I really do. But 18 points is a hell of a lot of ground to cover on an offense that is shown not just to be shaky, but even when they put it together, to not exactly put their foot all the way down in the throat. And that's what you got to do to cover these larger spreads. And so I expect a solid effort. But Virginia Tech they're going to bring it. This is their biggest game that they've had yet. It's their chance to make a little bit of a statement here to kind of turn their season around, try to get some momentum, and still, try to find their way into maybe a little bit of ACC bowl magic themselves right now, because everything is up for grabs on their side of the pond there. So this reeks of backdoor cover. This reeks of everything getting very conservative. And, one thing that BK said that he wanted to do up and down, we're a physical football team. We're going to get the identity back. And I have a feeling he will do it to a point to where if there is any kind of a lead, it is going to be stubborn as all hell. Just run it down their throat, kill clock, not try to go for the kill shot over and over again. Again, all of these things lead to Cover Town not quite getting there. So it pains me. I still think Notre Dame's going to win this football game, but I'm going to take the Hokies and the points here. Who do you got, Eddie?
Yeah, there's not a fucking chance I'm laying that many points with this team. The way they tapped out against Michigan was pathetic. Everything about that game was pathetic. You've got a Michigan team that had barely been able to run the ball at all. I think they were averaging 3.5 yards, and let them do that with a running back. Charbonnet hadn't done anything all year. The defense was terrible. Ian Book, did he throw a single fucking pass that wasn't a fadeaway? I mean, you got even Brady Quinn is popping off on Twitter. Step up in the goddamn pocket.
That's bad.
I mean, I've voiced my concerns about Ian Book all season, and coming into this, I was like, well, but his numbers don't seem that bad. What am I missing? Well, here's a little thought experiment, Ryan.
Uh-oh.
What happens when you take the New Mexico game out and the Bowling Green game out?
Things get bad.
Yards go from 1492 on the year to 871. Completion percentage from 59 to 56.
Oh Lord, you've done the research. This can get
Touchdowns,
bad.
15 down to 5. Interceptions stay the same. Yards per game drops by 40. Yards per completion. I'm sorry. Yards per attempt drop a full 2.
Oh dear God.
I mean, some stats got padded in those games. And everything I saw on that, I mean, if I see one more fucking screen this season, I'm going to tear my hair out.
Don't watch the sim tomorrow, Eddie.
I've probably won't. The amount of fade immediately running back 5 yards, no matter what's going on in the pocket, trying to spin move 3 times, and then chucking up a prayer as you're jumping off your back foot. That game was disgusting. It wasn't just that they lost. I mean, look, you lose games. Everyone loses games. We're in the midst of a pretty good 3-year run here.
That we are.
And you know what we had to show for it?
Not much.
A fucking Citrus Bowl win. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Hey, we took out LSU.
Hooray! When they had 7 people sitting the game out. Woo! But Miles Boykin had that one good catch, so that was fun.
It was pretty awesome.
Look, I'm not giving up the season. We could still win out. We can still get 10 games.
We could still play in the Cotton Bowl against the Ponies, Eddie.
That seems highly unlikely. Yeah. Yes, it is technically possible, but it's as possible as people were saying us still making the playoff was last week before the Michigan game.
No. There's a better chance of that. There have been I forgot what Samson had, but the amount of 10-2 teams that don't end up making the New Year's Six, especially like the blue blood top tier, few and far between. So,
but that's in years when you have 4 games that have at large spots, not 2. The amount of spots is way less this year. Is why I'm saying that even at 10-2, I think it's doubtful.
And really, there's only one spot because for Notre Dame to get in the Orange Bowl, they have to be ranked above the Big Ten and SEC teams that could potentially go in there. And if they're not ranked above both of those, either second or third place teams, it ain't going to happen. And with Ohio State likely going to the playoffs, with the SEC absolutely getting somebody going to the playoffs, the Sugar Bowl, no, Sugar's a semi, isn't it, this year, if I remember right? Yeah, so you're going to have the Rose Bowl is going to take somebody from the Big Ten, so you're looking now at the third place team. You got to be ranked ahead. So you got a better chance of that. But the SEC, they're right now, the way there needs to be a lot of chaos in the SEC for the Orange Bowl to happen.
Yeah, and in the Cotton Bowl, you only have one spot because the other goes to the highest ranked group of 5.
Exactly. So that is really the only spot that logically makes sense. But yeah, you got to win out first, and it starts here. And there's still the Indian burial ground that is Stanford right now that we can't seem to get over the hump in the BK era for whatever reason. And bringing up every last ghost in Ann Arbor doesn't make me feel good about that, including Monsoon Ghosts, which is a new one there.
Well, maybe I should have checked the weather because, like I said, Brian Kelly is apparently the motherfucker from Unbreakable. Oh, God, why? The Notre Dame Our Blogger guys on Twitter today said, want a spooky Halloween costume? Get these 3 items, take a shower, don't dry off, and then throw a ball 27 times at people at the party. And it was BK's puffy jacket, BK's visor, and a Notre Dame football.
Oh, my God.
I was like, God damn, y'all, it's too soon, but that's a very good joke.
Look, all we can do is just make fun of ourselves. Really, we just need another game to be played. Something's got to wash the taste out of our mouths of that just absolute abomination. And it's
no, that's the thing though. This doesn't wash away with one.
Oh, it won't wash it away, but it's going to help.
Here's the problem with this game for me, and if you don't want to go on this full tangent, we don't have to.
Oh no, full tangent. Let's do it.
Again, my pick. I'm taking the points. I think Notre Dame wins the game, but they're not covering because I'm going to trust this offense. Here's why the Michigan game is such a problem. A, Michigan needed this game so bad. Like, you could have put maybe not the final nail in the coffin, but the second to last one, and then handed the hammer to Ohio State to finish off Harbaugh. He has never had a win of that caliber since he's been there, and you gave it to him.
Yeah, literally handed it over. Please take it.
And I can't remember what podcast it was, but somebody was like, look, you can't say Notre Dame didn't show up. You can't, they got beat and then they tapped.
Who in the world said that?
I want to say it was somebody on the Cover 3 podcast, maybe. But look, I don't disagree. We came to play and then got behind and then kept getting worse, and then they tapped.
Yeah,
we got flat out beat.
Yeah, definitely got flat out beat. Absolutely.
But the fact that you have things like you block a punt and then give it right back.
Yeah.
The fact that this is how you perform off of a fucking bye week. We heard all the excuses after the Georgia game when there were 93 false starts. Oh, well, I guess I didn't just prepare the boys all that well. I guess I should have started prep work for a big away game a little earlier. Yeah, no shit. What the fuck were you doing the last 2 weeks?
And no classes either in this bye week.
Yeah, I mean, I realize they probably let some of the guys go home for a couple days, but you had plenty of time. You know what you're walking into. You've gotten wet before, right?
It sure doesn't look like it.
I mean, it's the performance that's so infuriating. I know somebody wrote into Samson's mailbag. It's been a question. I think you and Shane talked about it on Sunday. And even the Velvet Man was ready to say, this is the worst loss that BK's had. This is worse than Miami when we went down to Miami. And, we're a decade into this shit. It's not just losing, and it's not even just losing bad. Sometimes you get flat out beat. But when you look at the totality of the situation, it's just so infuriated because so much of it should be preventable.
Right.
And the fact that we've seen, which narrative do we want to talk about? The second-year quarterback under Brian Kelly narrative? The can't win a big game on the road narrative? The can't win at night on the road, period? The fucking get wet and you choke on your own tongue like you're Bruce Willis narrative? You had a good one you could have extended about Harbaugh can't win games against ranked teams. That was fun.
Can't win as an underdog either. That got tossed.
I hate it. This sucks. We were having so much fun, and now I'm going to F1 this weekend. I don't know if I'm even going to watch the game, and I'm not sad about it. I don't care anymore. And we could still go 10-2, and I realize that's maybe a spoiled mindset. And even I'd come into the year thinking that on the over-under of 9.5, I took the under. And it, after Saturday's performance, it sure does feel a lot more likely than not. But it's just, we have heard a lot in the last few days of why you shouldn't be upset and why, don't give up on the team, blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying give up on the team. You're allowed to be upset.
Oh, absolutely.
You should be angry because this was bullshit. And that's all I have for my bitching and moaning.
It's okay. Like I said, nothing's going to take away, even if it's 10-2, even if Notre Dame, say everything went optimally. Notre Dame backs into the Orange Bowl, beats a good SEC team as the opponent, and you get off the New Year's Six BCS Schneid. All that happens.
Done that.
But
we could have.
if all that happens, it's still not going to erase the fact that we laid an egg at Michigan. But it is too soon. It is too raw to not keep thinking about it and keep wondering what's going on. Now the good part is we get to be fans and upset. I have faith that this team could bounce back a little bit. But like I said, the way I feel this game is going to play out is that, BK is going to want to set a tone, because he mentioned it in the post game and in the pregame weekly press conference too, about getting the physicality back, about being the team that has that identity. And if there's one thing that is consistent about BK outside of not knowing how to handle rain, is that he's stubborn to a fault, and that if he wants to prove a point to his team or to anybody else, mostly his team, he's going to do it. So that's why I'm thinking if this game turns into a rock fight, BK will be happy for it to turn into a rock fight, because this team needs to kick the other team's ass. And that's the mentality that it all feels like that's what it's leaning to. But yeah, what will help a lot is, of course, you gotta stop the spiraling, basically. So it starts with stopping the bleeding here. You're going to face a good Navy team down the road. You need to bury some demons over at Stanford to make things feel a little bit better. And hopefully you get lucky to get another New Year's Six bid. And regardless of whatever Power 5 team you end up facing there, they're going to be coming, and would be really, really stupid to lose that game and continue your bad streak, and to add on a new narrative, Eddie, of, well, even when they get handed a group of 5 team, Notre Dame still can't get it done. So there's always loads to play for. I remember, like, my senior year, I couldn't play in the postseason for baseball because of weird public and private school rules, because I was part of a private school. The league we were in fell apart. The other leagues that we could have been a part of intentionally made rules to keep us out for being too large. Public school leagues wouldn't let us in. But despite that, we still wanted to play and win every game. Anytime we lost, we were fucking miserable. And every time we won, we felt great. You still go out, you still want to win, because you're not busting your ass in practice every day and trying to focus on how to make yourself better just to kind of go in and half-ass it. That just doesn't happen. That kind of mentality doesn't exist. And if it does, there's something really rotten on the team to begin with. So I'm really hoping we can start the healing process in earnest by watching us send Bud Foster off on a very sad retirement tour. That will make me feel slightly better. Not completely better, but slightly. And I will take slightly, as opposed to getting kicked in the nuts repeatedly over and over again, watching BK just stand there with the expression of what the fuck just happened over and over and over again. There's my part of the rant.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man. It's bad audio. I can't fucking pretend that I care at this point. It's bad. This sucks. Hail Gamblor, go Irish.
All right, let's get the hell out of here then. All right. Well, thank you very much. Happier times are on the way, right? Thank you for everybody that joined us here on twitch.tv/ForLittleSons. Make sure you follow us and get those notifications for when we do go live. We'll see you tomorrow night for the Sim. Of course, subscribe to the podcast over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts at. Discord, herlittlesons.com/Discord. Come continue the conversation. Of course, you can always find us at herlittlesons.com. That's it. Go Irish. Beat Hokies. Have a good one.